New Falls Count Anywhere, part of the Earnestly podcast. I'm your host, Ernest, EJ Christian, as we are now, once again, the last go-home week of the 2025 season. And, of course, we are joined here by, of course, one-third of the Mindless podcast, and also the host of the Rob the Genius podcast. It is my guy, Rob the Genius with us, of course. Rob, what's going on, brother?
Man, nothing much, man. How's everything?
You look all bundled up there, bro. Is it cold? Something up there in Maryland?
Yeah. It was in the teens yesterday.
Wait, was it in the 20s, you said?
It was in the teens yesterday.
No, really?
Yeah.
Bro, my wife is so jealous right now because she loves the cold weather. Loves it. But, of course, she's never lived through it before. She's always been...
Oh, okay.
She's a Florida girl. She had her way. She'd be living up north right now. But I told a woman, you sit there and you romanticize this because on TV, snow and all this stuff. Listen, I lived there as a child, and I don't mind the cold weather, man, but I would not live there anymore. That's a damn sure. I want to deal with black ice and having to warm my car and all that stuff. I'm good with that, bro.
Yeah. Look, once you get past the age where, like, when you're a kid, you get snow days and all that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
When you're adults, you don't. And when it snows, you still got to go to work.
So show your ass at the work, no matter what's going on.
Oh, man. Because look,
yeah,
yesterday, I take the commuter train to DC from here.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, they were canceling a bunch of the trains because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up having to turn around and come back home.
I almost asked you to do the show yesterday because, like, you went okay. So a little inside baseball. I had planned on doing a podcast with Duke on Duke's podcast yesterday, but I told him that because we just moved to this new place a couple days ago. Had a couple of people coming over to do some stuff here, maintenance stuff and whatever. So there's a possibility that I may have to cut the show short or pause a couple times to make sure that which by the way did happen. They came by and whatnot. So Duke said, "Well, let's move the show next week." So okay, well we'll do that next week instead. But I had thought about saying, "Damn, if I know you were going to be at home yesterday, I called you up to do the show yesterday." But
well, look,
it is.
I fell asleep after I came.
Funny enough, so did I. I've been feeling tired. I've been feeling tired lately, bro.
Because my sleeping patterns have been off again.
Oh boy!
But when it gets cold here, like, okay, so the problem is the basement gets cold. So if you come down to the basement and you bundle up, you're gonna fall asleep under the blanket or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But then the way the heat rises here, if I go up, my bedroom is all the way upstairs.
Right.
So if I go all the way up there to where it's warmer into my bedroom, like the heat all rises up there and it will knock you out.
Mm.
So basically when it gets wintertime, yeah, it's real easy to fall asleep here, man. So.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Anyway, again, this week is we're at the end of the John Cena run altogether. John Cena, it's over for him this week on the main event. We'll get to that in a second. We'll preview the show. And of course, we're going to do another, the second version of heel versus face. We take a wrestler that's been on both sides of the storylines, of a babyface and a heel, and to see which random wrestler we decide on was a better heel or face. We'll get to that in a second. But I want to keep this one simple here because I think next week I may have something special next week cooked up for the show. I wanted to ask you this because as I revealed in the show last week, John Cena is not my guy. And when I say not my guy, I love John Cena for the record. And I know if you've been watching John Cena last week, now doing his media runs, he was on Bill Simmons' podcast last week. Phenomenal interview. He just did Joe Rogan, I think, on Saturday or Sunday. I haven't listened to that one just yet. But I've seen a couple of John Cena runs this week through the media. And, that Simmons interview was amazing because I'm finding out things I didn't know. The guy, I look at John Cena, and the first thing that comes to mind is that John Cena was everything Hulk Hogan was supposed to be in and out the ring. Authentic, honest, to a fault. And even with Cena, you get the feeling that who he is and who he as a person even outside the ring, he's not fake. That whole persona is who he really is.
Yeah.
And that's why I like him so much. That's why I think he resonates so much for this generation too, so many years later, despite the challenges of, getting booed and whatnot. John Cena to me is probably the most authentic and yet cleanest superstar the WWE's ever had, probably, in terms of of height of powers. Like, you talking about Rushmore, Hogan has his warts, Austin has his warts. I don't know if Rock has his warts in the same way, but Cena to me is the one guy that clean as a whistle, but yet authentic. Like, he's not cookie cutter either. I mean, if you're watching Peacemaker on HBO, that's a different character for what he is on WWE for record. You watch that show, right? So,
yeah. Well, I haven't gotten around to this season yet, but I watched the first season.
Yeah, it's a great show. So I want to ask you this. Keep it simple. What is your favorite John Cena moment of all time? You got to pick of all the bunches that happened. Your favorite moment, match moment, it doesn't matter. Which one stands out for you the most? That's tough, huh?
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Because I mean, like you, I didn't. I was late to the party because I wasn't watching during his whole kind of rise to the top and all of that.
Yeah.
So everything about him that I saw live happened like from 2012 up until now. I guess for me, if I had to pick one,
be anything. It be match, moment, promo. I don't know.
I'd say.
I'll give you mine right real quick. While I think about it.
Okay.
For me, now this is easy for me because I didn't really watch the majority of his run in real time. As you guys know, I took a 17 hiatus from 2002 to 2019. And when I left in 2002, Cena was called up to the main roster literally months after I stopped watching. And while I knew who he was, I just wasn't watching the product in real time to know what was going on. And when I came back in 2019, by then he was, I don't think he was even a part-timer. He wasn't even there. He was gone. He didn't return until the Mania, the COVID Mania. We did the match against Bray Wyatt,
Yeah.
But he was part-time at best, and that's height of powers. So a lot of my Cena moments, while I've watched in hindsight, obviously he is just, even watching in hindsight, he's still justified being a Mount Rushmore guy, arguably the GOAT, and that kind of thing. A lot of the moments, or most of the moments I've experienced with John Cena has been in the last 5 years, past everything else. So my favorite moment for me is actually from 2021. It is his return at the Money in the Bank. Because remember I think Roman had beaten Edge, I think it was, in that match.
Yeah.
Right. And then out of nowhere you hear the theme music, drop. There was no rumors, there was no signs, nothing of that of the sort. It was also, I believe that might have been the first PLE they did with crowds.
It was. It was.
If I'm not mistaken, also too. And I remember that the show ended and that the music dropped, and the crowd went absolutely bonkers. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, aren't we supposed to boo this guy too also? Because, as you know, most of John Cena's run was a 50-50 thing with the crowd, where half the crowd loved him, half the crowd hated him. And he still stayed babyface even with that. But there's an old saying, absence of the heart grow fonder. And I remember watching him, like thinking, well, maybe now they've forgiven him, or maybe they've now forgiven him. Maybe they've accepted the fact that he is who he is. They missed him, and this is why he got the reaction he did. Because he hasn't been booed ever, other than the heel turn, of course. This year, he hasn't been booed since. So that return, I mean, in real time and being experienced in real time, gave me goosebumps. So for me, My favorite moment of all time with John Cena is that 2021 Money in the Bank reveal with Roman Reigns, of course, and that lead up to SummerSlam. Later that summer. So, I mean, that moment, I watched it again today. Actually, I was like, wow, that was great. Obviously, in hindsight, the other moments, the Money in the Bank match with CM Punk, the Royal Rumble 2008, come back. Which, by the way, that one, is weird. He got injured, right?
Yeah,
Before that, right? But
yeah.
he was hurt, what, 2 months before that, right?
So he had been. I don't remember when exactly he got injured, but he came back. He came in 2008. He came back like a lot earlier than expected.
Right,
So it was a total. Everyone was totally surprised when he showed up.
right. No one, yeah. I always wondered why was that such a big deal? Because he was only gone like 2 months or 3 months. I mean, we see that all the time now. That's not really a big deal. It felt like it was gone for maybe a year or something. That's what I thought at the time. But the moment stands out, of course. New York City. Shocking Triple H, the whole nine.
Yeah,
Um, but nah, 2021 for me will be my favorite only because of the fact that it was the only one of the only few Cena moments. Outside. I mean, heel turn will stand out too, also. But to me, being it to Cena real time, that's why it's my favorite one of all. So now that I give you time to
I got,
think about
I
it.
got, I got one. Okay.
Okay,
For me, it's it was a house show because
really?
yeah, because it was in 2015. I took me and my son went to one,
Mm.
and it was his first time ever seeing you know wrestling live, and for a while, for a few years, we would go to some. I would take him with me. He's older now. He's kind of he's kind of got out of it now, but we went to that one, and it's all the kids knew who John Cena was, right? And it's a big memory for me because it took me back to when my dad took me to see Hulk Hogan.
Hmm.
Because the first time I had seen pro wrestling live and in person, my dad took me to see Hulk Hogan defend the WWF Championship against Terry Funk, and that is one of those greatest memories ever for me. And so when I took my son to that one, it just took me right back there.
Yeah, it's always cool when you are able to experience some of these things with your children.
Yeah.
I didn't actually didn't have my first experience like in terms of like with my kids. Was until last year actually. I took them to their first wrestling show, to Raw, and we surprised them, of course, for that. My oldest son, especially too. Um, and he was, I mean, he obviously loved it, and he was stunned and the whole nine. It's always a different perspective when you go with your child to experience one of your passions. Wrestling being a passion of ours, and your child is into it too. Also, at one point, mine's kind of starting to get out of it too. Also, a little bit. Like, he still watches once in a while, but he's not like obsessed like he was years ago. He's turning 13 next year, so he's starting to get a little more independence on his own thing, which is fine. I'm not mad about that.
Oh
But
no, not at all. It's just
yeah,
but um, for me, it was just it was it took me back, and you know, and also I guess for me, when I talked before about how people booing him, and then later on people booing Roman Reigns, how that was very much
right.
a section of the fan base, and it never did represent the entire fan base.
Hmm.
Um, and I got my first taste of that there because the entire building was rooting for John Cena. There wasn't any "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks." The entire building was cheering for John Cena.
Which makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, yes, because um, there are people who, yeah, because I mean, there's the larger fan base, and then there are like the kind of terminally online people like us,
Right.
and those people who booed John Cena it was mostly the terminally online people, and a lot of them just they don't go to house shows like that, right? They go they go to Raw, they might go to a PLE, and then then and but they again they're not the whole fan, they're not even most of the fan base. Um, and some of them are just doing it to be assholes.
Of course,
Um,
for tension,
because
well not.
because having gone to some pay-per-views, and to some episodes of Raw and SmackDown, you will literally see people say both like the same. You will literally see dudes say both parts of "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks."
Yeah,
Like,
I believe that too.
yeah, I mean they do. I mean, so it's not even like the crowd is fighting with each other. Like a lot of it's the same dudes saying both parts of it, right? And so going to that house show and some subsequent house shows where the entire building was cheering for him, like you know like you're supposed to do, right? It was eye opening. Um, and then look, I saw the same thing later on Roman Reigns. Um, it's the exact same thing, and so just it was educational about the fan base, but also but just as far as but for me it was just it was a great nostalgia trip for me just because it took me back to when my dad had first taken me to see a wrestling show. So
Right.
for me, this was September of 2015. We went to a house show, my son and I, and the main event was John Cena versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship.
Ooh, and at the time Kevin Owens was new to the roster, I think, right?
Yeah, he had just come to the roster a few months before that. Yes.
Right. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I think next week we'll do like a little more elaborate Cena tribute show. Um, because I want to take in this weekend because like I said, I'm not as I said last week in the podcast or last time we did the show. I personally am not as invested in this Cena farewell tour because number one, it's been so convoluted anyway. Like he turned heel and then 3 4 months later he's back to babyface for no rhyme or reason. You know, but also understanding at the very least now what I'm really learning and what I'm really starting to appreciate with him though is what he means to the industry and him as a person and what and why he's so authentic and you know giving back to the industry that put into him. And again, I'm not saying this to disparage Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan's my guy because he was my era. But everything that the Hulk Hogan was in the '80s, say prayers, eat vitamins, beat yourself, the whole nine, that whole the three commandments, the four commandments, really is really John Cena. John Cena's the one living up to that, really, in those standards. In a different way, of course, but he's what I always thought Hulk Hogan was. And if you're talking about representative of the company and ambassador of the company, he is. I would say I don't think it's even arguable. I think he is the greatest ambassador of WWE in history. I think him and Undertaker, maybe the two guys look at it as like, okay, one and two guys, him and Undertaker, two guys I look at it as like, if you look at the two guys who are the best employees ever, those are number two, one and two guys, best employees ever in this company.
Yeah. And that is, yeah, I'd agree with you there. Because, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
because,
a, it's a, it,
I'm just take, I'm just kind of, because, like you said, Hogan was supposed to be that. And,
yeah. Find out later
um,
on,
yeah. And even, the stuff that happened, off the field, so to speak, not even counting that. Um, you know, um, and then look, I think it
because
was,
you don't get the feeling that he politicked the same way Hogan did. Like I'm sure he politicked a little bit, but I don't think he
well,
politicked the same how Hogan did.
no, I think okay, so there definitely look there's some stories about there about him, basically vetoing a couple of losses that
With Cena,
yeah, um, but. the names I heard, that were suggested were people. I mean, I think he did us a favor, really.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and look, I honestly, because look, as I've gotten older, I am much less critical of, the bigger name people saying no to losing to certain people because look, this is a job, it's their career. Um, that's the way you need to look at it. If your boss suggested some bullshit to you or something that you thought was some bullshit, and you had the option of not doing it, you would say no.
right.
Um,
To apply the same logic
and
to the situation too. Yeah, I agree with you.
and also if you're in the position he's in, yeah, I mean, who you lose to is important, and
Yep.
you should be losing to people that if you're going to take a loss, it should be to who can somebody who's good enough to actually do something with it,
Yeah.
or
Well,
somebody, or
perfect example
somebody,
of that. Perfect example of that. 2014, losing to Brock, and not just losing to Brock. The way he lost to Brock, he got dominated.
right,
You see the World Hulk Hogan ever do that? No, ever.
no, and also, I mean, again, there's a time, and again, but it's who you should, who you lose to. It should be somebody basically who's worthy of the victory, and who can do something with it,
Right.
or somebody who has already, proven their place.
And he
Like,
explained that. He explained that too on the podcast with Bill Simmons. Like he explained that the whole Hogan, not Hogan, they had lost to Brock in SummerSlam because Simmons was there because Simmons mentioned that match because Simmons was actually at that match, and he explained something like that. Has to make sense. And putting Brock over made sense because Brock just came off the Wimbledon Taker, ending streak. And then, months later, you go in and you dominate John Cena, the it guy of the company. So it made sense though because Brock at that time was a monster, and it was Bill's a monster, and and him going through Cena's well too also put him over. But it made sense. It never hurt him. In the end, it didn't hurt him.
yeah,
It's still a great story.
yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, because like when Austin didn't want to lose to Brock because Austin said there was no story, and
Right.
when there's no story to it, it doesn't. When there's no story to it, it doesn't help anybody.
No, not at all.
And so yeah, I mean, so yes, he did veto losing to a few people, but there's a diff. But I mean, again, there's a difference. I mean, he didn't like Hogan. Like the Starcade '97 thing. Literally showed up the day of the show and decided that to change the finish.
Yeah.
Cena, I don't, as far as I know, didn't do that kind of thing.
No.
Um,
To be
and
fair though, to WCW though and WWE though, I mean, dealing with Vince versus dealing with Eric Bischoff are two different worlds there. Hogan was Bischoff's boss. Let's be real about that.
yeah, true.
Or at least equals.
Yeah, yes, for all intents and purposes, yes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like just basically Cena ultimately was or is what guys like Hogan was supposed to be.
Right.
Um, so to that end, I mean, he's more in, I mean, he's more like Bruno really, because I mean, now of course Bruno was before both of our times, but just
Yeah.
having some, things I've read about him or heard people who worked back then talking about him. Bruno was one of those guys that, you know, made sure all the boys got paid properly when he was
Mhm.
on the show.
Yeah.
Um, he and no, and of course Cena didn't have to worry about that kind of thing because
No.
the pay scale was different, but now, but um, and just the way all the current people have just talked about having gotten advice from him and and whatnot. And yeah, and look, he is. In fact, he signed a contract for just within the last few days to be basically an ambassador now.
Right.
And
Is that another like? Is that kind of like a Legends contract in a sense?
I guess, but I mean, he's the guy to do it. Like I said, well, Hogan's no longer with us, obviously, but even when he was still alive, he was kind of tarnished. The last
Yeah.
10 years. To tarnished beyond any ability to spin it or whatever. Um, and then like I said, Austin has he's got some things that in his record that
Yeah, that guy. I mean, honestly, we forget that Steve Austin has a lot of like really shady shit in his. I think it's worse than shady. Honestly, domestic violence stuff there. That if that was done today, like even 10 years after it happened, he'd be ostracized too. Also, but I think we
yeah.
forget it happened. I don't think he was in the company at the time when it happened because that was around the time. Was that around the time when he left the company for a couple months?
It might have been,
Yeah.
but well, he very wisely. I think that's a really big reason why he stays on his ranch, and
Mm-hmm.
he pops his head up if he's coming in to actually to work. Every now and then you'll see him, but other than that, he goes on his ranch or farm or whatever he has, and he goes out there and he keeps to
He's
himself.
very self-aware.
Yeah, I think he's
Very.
he's self-aware enough to know that if he was out there in the public eye 24/7, that it might prompt some people to dig into some things.
Right.
Uh,
Very smart.
you know, then and then, like Ric Flair's a mess. Um, and Rock is more. I mean, Rock is a Hollywood guy. So even though he's very much still associated with WWE, but for all intents and purposes, he's the Hollywood guy. So him being an
Yeah.
ambassador ain't
He's
quite
been
the same.
he's been part time for over 20 years. So
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you want a guy to be the ambassador, it's Cena is the guy. I mean, 100%. And so he signed like a 5-year contract, I think, to do that or something.
yeah.
So
Well, this weekend will be his last match at
yep,
this year's Senate main event, which will take place, of course, in Washington D.C. at the Capital One Arena in your neck of the woods, sort of.
and I
Um,
wanted to go, but it costs too much. So
yes, I mean everything else WWE uses is talks too much. Tagline for the show is called the last real champion won last time. There are 4 matches scheduled for this thing. Let's get to the first one here first. The championship champion match. Cody Rhodes, who's the undisputed WWE champion, versus Obafemi, the NXT champion, who just won it on this past Sunday. If I'm not mistaken.
yes.
Um,
Um,
so has he been called up to the main roster yet? Oh no, this is
no,
just
no, he just won the NXT championship back, so I imagine he's gonna be sticking around at least a few more months up there.
is this a test case here to see how he fits with the big boys?
It might be. Probably. I think I mean, he should. I mean, he'll be fine once he gets up there. Um, I suspect that since Cena is, I mean, it's not Cena. Since Cody is in the midst of a feud with Drew McIntyre, I thinking that we're probably going to see Drew show up during the match and get involved.
Of course.
Now, whether that means it may just end up being like a disqualification or something, or that's what I'm guessing is going to happen.
Right. Cody's gonna win this match no matter what. This is more about what we're over stacks among the
Yeah.
big boys, I think, honestly. And look, I haven't followed Open Femi personally, but from what people tell me, this kid he's good.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I mean, and look, he still he can use some more experience down there just to get more experience
Yeah, of course.
and look, I'm not honestly because I'm not opposed to letting people stay down there for 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
and so they know exactly who they are when they get up on the main roster.
And not only that, why would you want to come up in a roster when it's very crowded anyway?
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Because Look, he's somebody who, like, he should be getting, you know, he should be winning world championships and should be main eventing PLAs.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so calling him up too early where the field is crowded is a real easy way to get him stuck, you know, and so you
yeah,
don't want to do that.
yeah. I'm gonna pick Cody in this one. All right, next match we have Bailey versus Sol Ruka.
Okay, so Saul Ruka has a friend slash tag team partner who she's been going through some kind of they've been going basically they're in the kind of stages of what looks to be like a long breakup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's a really good chance that this is where the turn happens.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't surprise me if Saul's friend and partner Zarya um, turned on her Saturday or cost her the match some kind of way.
is Bailey still doing the whole bipolar like
Um,
different thing? That's still going on.
Sorta. I mean, it's I think she's kind of toned it down the last few weeks, but I think she's still doing it. They haven't dropped it.
Okay,
It's just well, she hasn't been on TV for as much the last few weeks. So
right. Which is a shame because she's so good. Still love her.
and now this is just internet talk, but I mean there are some people in social media land who think she might be moving on because her all reports saying her contract is up. So next year sometime. So um
It wouldn't surprise me, to be
it,
honest with you. It wouldn't surprise me.
I wouldn't be surprised either way because I mean I think when she's finished she's but when she's done wrestling she'll be working for WWE in some capacity,
Oh yeah, she'd be an agent or something like that. Yeah.
agent trainer or something or other. Yes. And she's starting to get it. Like she actually did like a whole seminar this past weekend.
Uh huh.
So she's going to be doing that when she's finished. But it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if because well, it wouldn't surprise me either way because I
Right.
can see her staying just because she's a WWE lifer. But I could also see her kind of looking at the landscape right now and thinking, okay, um, if this is all they got for me, then you know it'd be a good idea just to go spend the next couple of years somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, especially at the time when the women's division is really crowded and it's getting more crowded, and there's really no space for her to really elevate really to where she was 5 years ago. Because right now the top spots are held up by Rhea. Bianca will be back some point. You have a lot of other girls are calling out the roster right now that they're really, even though I think she's good enough to do it. I don't know if the company has the appetite to want to put it in her hands again.
And also, I mean, again, we don't know these people, but it really seems it appears that she's too damn nice and too
Probably, you're probably right. It's probably something
and
like that.
yeah, and so you got to and you know th- there are times where you got to be a bit of an asshole
A
to
little ruthless. I agree. Totally agree
yeah.
with you on that one.
So it wouldn't surprise me either way because and look, her real life best friend in wrestling is over in AEW, so it's not like she wouldn't get taken care of over there.
Right, exactly. And plus, her best friend's there too. Also on top of that, so So anyway, we got a world tag team title match between AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater. When did AJ and Dragon Lee win the title?
About
I missed that.
a month ago.
Oh, this is how you know I'm out. This is how you know I've been. But look, I warned you guys. Like this time of year with football and basketball and everything going on content wise, it's hard for me to watch wrestling as much as I normally do. Now, come next month, now we're Rumble time. I'm back in. So, um, are Javon Evans and Leon Slater, are they NXT guys also?
Leon Slater is actually a TNA guy,
Okay.
and Jamon Evans is an NXT guy. He's really good. He's really young. He's like
Okay.
21 years old. But yeah, they're both really good, and they're both gonna be doing they're both gonna be doing big things, down the road. And I imagine like at some point in the future, Leon Slater is going to be over in WWE land also.
Hmm.
But this should be a fun match really because that well the actually look the tag team scene has actually woke up a little bit when they put the when AJ and Dragon Lee won the tag team titles
Yeah.
because they're actually doing something with it now. Which I mean, they've kind of given up on it for
Also,
that.
it is something to do also because he's also on the way out very soon too. Also, he keeps saying that after his contract's over, he's done, which could be within the next year or two.
He said that 2026 is it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah,
So
he, he
his turn's
he made
next
that
month then.
official. Yeah, he made that official. Yeah, that 2026 is going to be his last year, and he said point blank, he said he doesn't want to be stumbling around or whatever. He when he goes, he wants to go while people you know still think he's the same as he's always been.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I think I read somewhere that he had said that once he retires, he's shaving his head.
AJ.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I read. See or not, man. And nothing is real, and everything could be real. Who knows?
Wait a minute. I can't see him shaving his head bald. I can see him just cutting his hair because look, I mean,
Buzz cut.
yeah, because look, I mean, he's putting product in his hair and everything, and I mean, he has to actually manage that thing.
As someone who doesn't have hair, he has great hair.
Yeah.
So so um anyway, so I'm picking the champs to retain here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And of course, the match, the reason why we're here in the first place, it is John Cena's retirement match. It'll be him, John Cena, against Gunther. Um, do you have no problem with Gunther being his final opponent? Do you?
No. The final opponent it just needs to be a worthy opponent.
I mean, you don't get
I
more
mean,
than him, honestly.
that to me that's the most important thing. I don't subscribe to this idea that it needs to be some younger person that you're putting a spotlight on or whatever. I don't subscribe to that. Your final opponent just needs to be a worthy opponent.
Totally agree with that.
That's the way. Because that's the way I see it.
I am curious though what they do with this because if you're putting Gunther as the final opponent for John Cena, which by the way they also made Gunther the final opponent for Goldberg early in the year,
Yeah,
it means something, and this has to mean something going forward for Gunther. And I've been saying already that I think there's a very good chance he will be in the title picture again by WrestleMania. I don't know how they book him and whatnot in terms of babyface, heel, tweener or whatever it may be, but I think this is going to mean something for Gunther moving forward. Like, there's no way Cena wins this match. I don't see it. I don't see it, and I'm sure Cena's okay with that, more than okay with that, obviously. But
I think he should win.
You think Cena should win?
Yes.
Against Gunther?
Yes.
Explain why.
Because he's the superhero. He's the good guy. Nobody's paying to see him lose his last match. Okay.
I mean, if it was Dominic Mysterio, I get it, but Gunther?
And what? I mean, one last villain to overcome.
Because I don't disagree with what you said about the fact that if you're going out, you have to lose. I agree with you on that.
Because to me, that's stupid IWC logic.
And I'm with you. What I'm saying though is that, however, I look at the quality opponent too. Also, you're facing here. Gunther's Gunther, bro.
And if you're the all-time superheroes, then yeah, you get your last you that's who you beat. You beat one last final boss type of dude on your way, and you ride off into the sunset.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Now, as passionate as you sound about that, are you picking Cena to win this match?
I'm rooting for him to win this match.
Well, I think everybody's rooting for him to win this match, though. But do you think he
Well,
wins this
no,
match?
no, but these IWC weirdos who think that, oh, well, you gotta put somebody over. You have to put somebody over. I mean,
And this is why I agree with you. Gunther doesn't need to be put over. Gunther's already over. You know what I'm saying? But
but
I do. The reason why. Go ahead.
but we obsess too much with that. Okay, make some good television. Tell a good story. Okay, that should come first. All this notion of, well, this person needs to put this person over. No, that's second or third. Okay, make some good television. Tell a good story.
I will say this: the company's done a good job the last 2 years in softening us to the idea of Gunther could lose a match or two. He lost to Sami Zayn last year for the IC title at WrestleMania. He lost to Jey Uso for the world title at this WrestleMania. So at the very least, they've done a good job in creating a narrative that, you know what, Gunther is dominant, but he can lose. So that's why I can buy the idea that Cena win this match at the end of this whole thing.
And
that's why.
If anybody can beat him, it's John Cena. Like we're not,
he can beat him.
I mean, we're not talking about some guy in some mid carder who's some underdog mid card guy. We're not talking about that. We're talking about John Cena.
He can win. I don't think he will win.
No, yeah, I have the feeling that they're gonna succumb to the IWC logic. They're gonna lose. Yes, I have the feeling that that's going to happen.
I mean, seems to put everybody over on the way out. He put Cody over. He put freaking Brock over. He put Dominic over recently. Now he's gonna put Gunther over too.
I get it. It's not necessary. It's not needed. It really isn't. And for once, look, simplest answer is usually right. And the simplest answer is that, Superman wins on his way out the door.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's the simplest answer. Or the one last roundup in the Western, right?
Yeah.
That guy wins. Like even if he gets killed in the process, like because sometimes but he still wins. Okay, you're the hero. You've been the hero for all these years. You've been you win your last fight. That's how. Yes, you should win. You should accomplish. You should be successful in your final mission. Okay.
I feel you.
Especially if you're going against a heel. Now, if he was if it was if he was wrestling a baby face, then yeah, they could have they could go out there and they could have a great match and he could lose and he could shake the guy's hand or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's going against a heel. And this is good versus evil one more time. And he should win. And again, don't I have the feeling that they probably won't do that because again, they're I think they're gonna
listen to IWC idiots.
Yeah, and just yes, I think yes, and so yeah, I mean, so it's just I think that's what's going to happen, but I'm hoping they don't. I hope that they just do the simple thing and book him to win, and give people one more happy ending with him.
Yeah. Having said that, I think Cena will not win. I think Gunther will win. So there's that. All right, if we get out of here, let's do another version of heel versus face. It's been a little while since we did this. I took out 5 wrestlers, superstars, from various companies. Well, mostly WWE, pretty much, but that were once upon a time either a heel or a face in their careers, from any era. And we're just going to debate and see if X wrestler was a better heel or face throughout their career. All right, first one. Let's go Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch. Was she a better heel or better face?
I think earlier on in her career she was better as a babyface, but now I mean her whole MO earlier in her career was she was the plucky underdog, and that's just not believable now. I mean, she's she's won every championship. She's main evented WrestleMania. Like you're not the underdog, okay?
Yeah.
You can try to you can tell people you can keep trying to sell yourself as that, but you're not. Right. So I think now she's better off as a heel.
So it's funny because like I never thought I'd say heel, but I'm gonna still say face, only because of the fact that I when I came back to watching 2019, she was high to power the biggest star in the company, and she was the quintessential babyface. And when she first turned heel, in 2021, I didn't like it. I thought it was forced, it was grabby, it was just trying things, trying things. But this heel turn she's doing now, she's done this year, has stuck the landing a little more. So while I will still say face, it is a lot more closer now than it used to be. If you had asked me this question 2 years ago, I would have said definitely face with a bullet, not even close. But now, to your point, she's not an underdog. She's done everything, and she's done everything. She's now, you know where she's at now? She's where Bret Hart was in 96, 97. You know what I'm saying? So you're not an underdog. You're just whiny at this point now. So, but I'm gonna say babyface only because she's high powers and was still her top of her game as a babyface as the man back in that 2019, 2020. So, all right, next one here. Edge or Adam Copeland, we call him a Cope.
Okay.
Was he better heel or better face?
Ooh.
This is tougher actually.
Well, all right. Because again, I'll say now, like especially since he came back, babyface. Because it's just again, he's at this stage in his career, just nobody's booing him, right?
Right.
And so I mean, so definitely in this stage of his career since he came back, babyface. Um, let's see, I wasn't watching when he was doing the whole rated R superstar thing and all that.
Right. It was I.
I wasn't watching
But he was
that.
killing it. But he was killing it though. I watched in hindsight. He was killing it.
So yeah, I mean, so at that point, yeah, I said at that point he was probably better as a heel. And then, when Edge and Christian were, teaming up during the Attitude Era when they were tag team champions, they were the heels and they were great then. So, again, earlier in his career, heel, yes. But now I'd say babyface.
This one's tough for me because I would argue his best work of his career was done as a heel. And watching in hindsight, his radar superstar stuff in the 2000s, his feud with Taker, his feud with I think he feud with Cena a couple times. Um, I can argue that that's his best work. But the work I've seen mostly through his career between 1998 and now has mostly been babyface. You know,
Yeah.
this is tough. I'll go heel only because of the fact that I acknowledge the fact that his best work was done in that whole thing. Like his best work, with him and Lita together and doing the whole thing with Matt Hardy. That's his best work. I think for that alone, that's the difference between the work he's done as a babyface. I think is that he's done his height of powers has been when he was a heel. So I'll give him that. But that shit's closer than you realize too. Also, so I'll go heel. All right, next one here. How about Kevin Owens? Better heel or better face?
Um, I'd say heel, but he's kind of hindered because there's a section of the audience that doesn't want to boo him
Mm-hmm.
because they've been kind of riding with him ever since he was Kevin Steen in Ring of Honor,
Yeah.
and so because of that, you know, they root for him regardless of what he's doing as a character. But I think I do think he's a better heel because he can get to like a really place of being really like sick and twisted and demented as a
Yeah,
heel.
I've seen both obviously in real time. I love both in real time. There was a time when he was doing the whole like Stone Cold Steve Austin rib to some degree in 2019. The stunner and all that stuff. But honestly, you look at his work. His best work is as a heel. He to me he works better as an asshole. He works better as that cocky, arrogant, kick ass, fuck you, whatever I'm gonna do, that kind of thing. You know, it works as a heel, as a babyface too, but it's different as a heel. It just hits more as a heel. His best matches also as a heel as well too. His stuff with Roman, although stuff with Roman he was a babyface all the time, but a lot of stuff he's done in recent years, the Cody feud recently was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and he works as a heel. I think his best works as a heel. Honestly, but I know one's close because he's done some really good things at babyface too. Also, that you know makes you think, whoa, he put the company on his back. Who knows? But I think it's still a heel for me. So, all right, two more here. Let's go tag team here. The Hart Foundation. Better heel, better face.
Okay. So I want to say babyface because they showed more personality
Mm-hmm.
when they're baby faces. Yeah, especially Neidhart, some of those promos and whatnot. Um, when they were heels, I mean, Brett was always a great wrestler, but I mean, you could have swapped them with some other heel tag team and gotten the same kind of results. So I'd say babyface. I think they did better work as baby faces.
Yeah, I agree with you. And remember, they came in WWE in I think 84, 85 as heels and stayed heels for a couple of years.
Yeah,
Through up to 88 with him and Jimmy Hart. And they have some great work to heel. Great work. Their first tag team title run was as heels. But the whole demented Jim Neidhart thing, as you mentioned, and you're so right about that. It was actually more effective at the babyface though, because he was crazy, but it was likable crazy. You know what I'm saying? Whereas as a heel, it's like, oh well, yeah, he's doing the heel tendency thing, but he's doing it as a babyface though. It's like that's kind of cool actually. So I'm gonna go babyface too also because I love their late '80s run, early '90s run. Especially when they won the tag titles in '90 because Demolition, SummerSlam
yeah.
'90. That was a great run too. Also, I love that run. And the babyface at the time. So yeah, I'm gonna go babyface too. Also, I really enjoyed that run, especially so without Jimmy Hart, especially. All right, and finally, last one here. This should be a good one here. The Big Boss Man. Better heel or better face?
I'm to heel because, like, the essence of the character, he was a corrupt, you know, uh, policeman, basically, who overstepped his authority, and yeah, it was much better as a heel. Like when he like the whole bit of like handcuffing people to ropes and beating the shit out of them with the
Yeah.
nightstick. That obviously you don't do that as a babyface, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now look, that's a character that well, that character wouldn't work too well today.
No, with that little flag thing going on there, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, that wouldn't work too well today.
Yeah,
But
mhm.
no, I mean, look, that was definitely a heel character, and again, because again, even when he was a baby face, there wasn't really again like the person, the personality, the kind of deeper aspects of the character didn't really come into play very much. Whereas when he was a heel, that those parts of it, came into play more. And then also later on, I mean, the whole bit with the Big Show's dad's funeral. I mean, That was,
Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
mean,
Yeah. I
look,
saw that.
that was tacky and it was a really poor taste.
Yes.
That shit was hilarious. I don't care.
So I'm going to agree with you on that one. Definitely a heel character the whole nine. But I'm going to say this though, in defense of the Bayface character of Big Boss Man, it worked for the short run it did in '90. It worked. It actually worked. I that Babyface Big Boss Man had no business working, and it worked. So it was pretty good. Um, as a babyface with Hogan, whatnot, and he almost won the IC title against Perfect in Mania 7. But ultimately, the character itself, the peak of the character, the reason why it worked from the word go, the reason why you booked with Hogan immediately when he got into the company in '88 is because the heel character and the whole, as you mentioned, cuffing to the ring post and that whole thing, him and Slick together was great. I think even when he did the rebirth of the character in the late '90s in Junior era, you know,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool too. Also, yeah.
Yeah.
While it did, it was not a filler to babyface at all. I thought it worked with the babyface, but the better part of that character was the heel. So I mean, again, Big Boss Man. When I started watching wrestling, '87, '88, and when he came out and started messing around with Hogan and tying him up to the freaking the railing and whacking him in the back, and oh my gosh, that's actually a massive. That's actually a big childhood inflection point for myself. It really is. Hogan sent him on for another one. So it's Bossman beating the shit out of Hogan. You know what I'm saying? So it's gotta be heel. It's gotta be heel ultimately. So
And I was surprised that they put him with Hogan from the beginning because look, I remember him as Big Bubba Rogers in the NWA. And he was Jim Cornette's bodyguard.
Right.
Um, and the way they introduced him was so great because like basically like Dusty whacked him over the head with like a wooden chair, and he just no sold the shit and just pulled the chair off from around his neck and like threw it on the ground like is that all you got? and
Yeah. Definitely better heel ultimately.
yeah.
So anyway, good show today as always, Rob. Anything you want to plug? You have a new podcast coming soon, Robert G's podcast?
I recorded some stuff. I'm trying to get this one wrapped up before next Sunday because I got some more Shador stuff to talk about. This is it's just been comical. Because like he's a fifth round pick and he plays like a fifth round pick, which means he had two mediocre games and he had one really good game this past Sunday. And that's kind of what fifth round picks do. They're mediocre sometimes, and then occasionally they're good. Um, and it's being made out to being so much more than what it
Yeah.
should be.
I got a theory about that too. Also, I think Kevin Stefanski is trying to get fired.
Well, okay, I'll say this. I was not buying into any of any of the tinfoil hat stuff. I was not buying into any of it until this past Sunday
Yeah.
because that boy had 360 yards, threw for 4 touchdowns, and ran for a fifth touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And you take him out of the game on a 2-point conversion. Like that is just inexplicably stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And because one guy tried to explain that, well, they've been running those plays from the 2-point conversions all this season, so blah blah blah. And they but they take the quarterback out of the game. Like, no, okay. When your quarterback is having that kind of game, you don't take him off the field. And you especially don't take him off the field that runs a bullshit, you know, trick play where you put the running back in the quarterback and he's supposed to do a bunch of stuff. And no, hell no. So I'll put it this way. Again, I'm not a tinfoil head guy in general,
Yeah.
but Stefanski this past Sunday, he gave a lot of fuel to tinfoil hat people. And
things. I'm a Stefanski fan, but that was a bad look.
It was. I mean, because here's the thing, like the last, because again, his first two games he was mediocre, right? You can look at the stat lines. And the stat lines are mediocre, and they're um. So the first 2 weeks, no, you could have Stefanski would have been justified in whatever decision he wanted to make.
Yeah,
If you want to put him on the bench or take him out for certain plays or whatever, those first 2 weeks it would have made sense. He would have been justified. Um, this week, no, and you, you can't,
yeah,
and it's just, and yeah, I think you might be right because here's the thing. All right, um, they got Deshaun Watson still owed $200 million guaranteed. And they're stuck with him, and if he ever gets healthy enough to play, like you have to play him because you're paying him $200 million, right? Um, but he wasn't looking too good when he got hurt, so he's not very good. And then they drafted two guys. They drafted Shador and they drafted Dylan Gabriel, and Dylan Gabriel stinks.
yeah. He's terrible.
And Shador is still a fifth round pick, which means that he's gonna look good sometimes, and sometimes he ain't. And and so he's more than likely not somebody. He's not your long term quarterback. Okay,
No.
I don't think he is. So if you're Stefanski, look, you're stuck with a whole lot of bad options at quarterback. And so yeah, he probably would feel better off just what, let me get out of here. And basically, the easiest way to get out of there is to do something. Is just to do stupid things that cause you to lose games. And and
Yep.
so yeah, I imagine that he probably, yeah. I mean, but I don't. This whole idea that he's trying to sabotage Shador's career. Yeah, come on, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, just stop it. I mean, do you really think he? Do you think he? Do you think he has some personal issue with the kid they drafted in the fifth round? That he would want to sabotage his career when, again, he's a fifth round draft pick. You don't have to sabotage anything. Okay, he's gonna play mediocre plenty enough times where you don't have to sabotage anything. Okay, you know.
Yeah.
So I just think it's dumb. I mean, it's sometimes it's funny, you know, um, you know, but just hearing like the lunacy of some of these radio hosts and people on TV or whatever. Some of that's
Yeah.
just funny and entertaining, but
Mm-hmm.
it's yeah. I mean, it's just
Yeah. Well, hope to hear more of the commentary on the Shador thing. I enjoyed the last episode you did about that
oh, thank you.
2 weeks ago. So and of course you can follow me on X at EJ Christian number 7. False Scott Anywhere, of course, a part of the Earnestly Speaking podcast. We will talk to you guys soon. Hoping to have a show next week. We have a special show for you guys next week as well too. Until next episode, we'll talk to you guys. Enjoy the end of Cena on this Saturday main event.